Welcome to Sideline Sports, where we give you an up-close and personal look at the teams, coaches, and athletes that make up the Columbia Basin. Here's your host, Jeff Slakey.
Hi, welcome to another great episode of Sideline Sports. This week, a legendary coach is honored before an Eagles homecoming game. Ephrata's football undefeated season comes to an end. In volleyball, the Ephrata Tigers roared to life early in a quest to stay unbeaten against Quincy. And our game of the week, Quincy at Ephrata in football.
This portion of Sideline Sports is being brought to you in part by
Allstead Real Estate, a name you can trust. A beloved former coach and teacher, Bill Gardner, honored for all he's done for Soap Lake.
Soap Lake High School celebrated its 60th anniversary last night at its homecoming game. All the Soap Lake graduates lined up in order of time that they graduated and were celebrated for their part in Soap Lake. The marquee moment of the night was when former coach and teacher Bill Gardner was honored by having the field named after him.
Bill Gardner football field. Here.
Gardner is a big part of the Soap Lake community and has been for years. This night was a special one for him as many people across all ages expressed their gratitude for Gardner and all he's done for them. Gardner expressed his thoughts on his journey on how he got to this point.
Thinking back over the years, I think the thing that I cherish the most is the kids that I worked with and what they became later.
Athletic Director Keith Laughlin explains why Gardner was chosen to have the field named after him.
Well, Bill Gardner's been a part of this community for a great many years. He's set a great standard here at the school.
After the celebration, the Eagles hit the field to take on the Brewster Bears. After a quick Eagles touchdown pass, the Bears controlled the clock with their relentless running attack and beat the Eagles 42-13. Regardless of the outcome of the game, the night is still special to Soap Lake. The Bill Gardner Field will see many wins in years to come. I'm Adam Chikoski for iFiber One Sports.
Sideline Sports is being brought to you in part by
Cheryl Konos Farmers Insurance is your local one-stop shop for all of your insurance needs. Whether it's auto, home, life, business, and farm and ranch, Cheryl and Farmers are here for you. She'll work to put together a package that fits your needs no matter how big or small. She's right here in Ephrata. Please stop by for a free quote at 858 Basin Street Southwest or call 509-754-2550.
In a game that will likely produce the conference champ, the undefeated Tigers hit the wall of Othello's defense.
It was a big game last night for the Ephrata Tigers, who were defending their undefeated season against the Othello Huskies. Ephrata brought the first touchdown to the field during the first quarter with a 6-yard pass from quarterback Zach Barrington to Jake Oaksis. The two would go on to make the team's only other touchdown during the third quarter. Othello stomped their competitors during the second quarter with 3 touchdowns, leaving the score at halftime 28-7. The Huskies' defense remained hungry during the second half, turning the ball over with 2 interceptions, both resulting in drives that would score points. Ephrata experienced their first loss of the season to the Huskies with a final score of 38-14. The Tigers, who are 4-1, will be hosting Quincy High School Friday the 6th, and Othello, who's 3-2, will be traveling to East Valley Yakima. I'm Madison Meyer with iFiber One Sport.
This portion of Sideline Sports is being brought to you in part by
Pillar Rock Grill, the best brunch in Moses Lake. Ephrata Soccer has an all-time undefeated record against their rival school Quincy. They were determined to keep it that way.
The Ephrata girls soccer team traveled to Quincy last night at sundown. Ephrata, a playoff team last year, has had a rough start to the season, being edged out by tough opponents Kashmir and Sela by only 1 goal each. Quincy, on the other hand, was searching for their first win of the season after experiencing a few close heartbreakers themselves. Ephrata's girls soccer has never lost a game to Quincy's girls soccer ever since both schools adopted the program in the late 90s. The Tigers were out to make sure that record stayed intact. Ephrata got started fast, quickly scoring 3 goals, but then the Jackrabbit defense tightened up. A hard-earned goal for Ephrata late in the first half made the halftime score 4-0. The Tigers came out of halftime rejuvenated and did not let up in the second half. Ephrata walked away with the win 7-0 and are now 2-1 in the conference. Quincy's next home game will be Tuesday, October 3rd, when they host East Valley. Ephrata's next home game will be Saturday, September 30th against Grandview. I'm Adam Chikoski for iFiber One Sports.
Checking the scoreboard in football, Moses Lake 42, Eisenhower 13, Quincy 35, Wapato 15, and Post Falls over Wenatchee. In soccer, Wenatchee 4, Moses Lake 0, Warden 2, Royal 1, and Ephrata 6, Toppenish 0. In volleyball, Wenatchee 3, Moses Lake 0, Quincy over Othello 3-2, and Ephrata blanks Toppenish 3-0. In our game of the week, the Battle of the Basin is always an exciting game for both fan bases. This year it takes place in Ephrata, and after a bad season last year, the Tigers have turned things around and has quickly become one of the best teams in the conference and one of the most exciting offenses to watch. Quincy comes in with a winning record, charging into this game after beating Wapato on the road. Upcoming games in football, it's Othello at East Valley, Davis at Moses Lake, and Royal at Keanu Benton. In soccer, Othello at Grandview, Moses Lake at Eastmont, and Walluk at Warden. In volleyball, Wenatchee at West Valley, Othello at Ephrata, and Quincy at Ellensburg. This has been another presentation of Sideline Sports. I'm Jeff Slakey.